Hello and welcome to the Command Phase. My name is Mark and thank you so much for joining me. It's that magical time of the year when the Warhammer 40k holiday Battleforces are being announced, and we've got 6 amazing offerings for start a new 40k army or expand on an existing one. In this video I'll be breaking down what's inside, the cost and points values for each of these boxes, so without any further ado, let's get stuck in. First up, we have the Votann Battle Force Defenders of the Ancestors, and for me this is one of the standout boxes this year. Inside you'll get 1 Einherjar Champion, 1 Grimnir, 10 Einherjar Hearthguard, a Sagittar and 1 Hecaton Land Fortress. This would work out to be roughly £237.50 or $385 if you bought all the individual boxes from the Games Workshop website, which is the most value of any of the boxes being shown today. In terms of points, you'll get roughly 750 in total, which sits third on the list out of 6 boxes, which to be fair is mainly down to nearly 20% points reduction that they had in the recent balanced data slate. Either way, I think this is a great starting point or expansion to your army, with each of these units being a staple in a lot of lists right now. While out of the box it's very elite, a few additions would help make this into a well-rounded force. For new players to the faction, picking up a combat patrol alongside this and another Sagittar would go a long way, but to be honest, even buying 2 of these boxes and maybe selling off the second Grimnir and Hecaton wouldn't be a bad shout if starting from scratch. Next up, it's the green skins with the Beast Snagga Stampede, and for those like myself that enjoy the new aesthetic of the Beast Snaggers, this box has all the goodies that you'd want. Inside you'll get a Beast Boss on Squigosaur, which you could build into Mozrog Scragbad if you wanted to, a set of Squighog Boys with the knob on Smasher Squig, a Pain Boss, 10 Beast Snagga Boys, and a Kill Rig which can also be built as a Hunter Rig should you wish to. This works out to be worth $220 or $365 RRP if you bought all the individual boxes from the Games Workshop website, which is second in terms of value from these boxes. Moving on to the points, depending on what you build, you can get anywhere between 660 and 730 points, which puts this 4th overall in this regard. But to be fair, with all the fairly new sculpts, it's a great start to an Orc army, and you aren't swimming in unwanted units to potentially grab 2 for a new force. Although you would want to sell off one of the Pain Boys, as you certainly wouldn't need 2. Moving on to Battle Force number 3, and we have the CADIAN Defence Force, with not 1 but 2 Rogor Dawn tanks, backed up by 20 CADIAN Shock Troopers and a CADIAN Command Squad. In terms of RRP, you're looking at £207.50 or $345 in terms of value, with the vast majority being held in the 2 tanks. This technically puts this box 4th in value. Moving on to the points, and you're able to make up 705 points from this box, which isn't bad, but puts it 5th overall. While it's not a bad starting box for a force if you have no tanks, I personally couldn't see getting more than 1 of these for a force. I'd have maybe liked to have seen a different second tank or more troop options included, but again, with everything being newer kits, it's still pretty good overall. And now we come to a very focused box on getting into combat as fast as possible with the Space Marine Spearhead Force. Inside you'll get the new Captain with Jump Pack, a massive 15 Jump Pack Assault Intercessors, 3 Outriders and an Invader ATV, bringing you to a total value of £197.50 or $330, which is sitting in 6th place overall out of the 6 boxes. That being said, it isn't where the disappointment ends. In terms of points in the box, it's a meagre 505 points, which is considerably lower than every other box. While on paper it looks quite a fun force, and I am partial to jump pack units, it's one I can imagine that will be on shelves for quite some time after release. I'm just a little surprised there wasn't something bigger in this box in comparison to all the others. For those wanting to build a fast moving army that wants to get stuck in like the White Scars force, then this would end up being a great buy, especially with them all being very new sculpts, so it is quite surprising them getting into a value box. But for the vast majority of Space Marine players, this may well be a pass. And now we come to the new bugs, and the biggest of them all is inside this Onslaught Swarm Battle Force with the Norn Emissary, which can also be built as a Norn Assimilator, plus a Winged Hive Tyrant, 20 Hormagaunts and 10 Gene Stealers. This comes in 5th place in terms of value with an individual RRP of £200 or $330, with the Norn being the standout model here. In terms of the points, you'll get a whopping 820 to 850 in the box depending on what you build, which comes in 2nd place for these Battleforce boxes. If you haven't already got a Norn Emissary, then this I'm sure will be a great box to pick up for newer players that may well have either got the starter set or the Leviathan box set, as all of these models make up a nice melee portion to your force. The majority of the sculpts in here are new ones, with the Winged Hive Tyrant being the oldest, albeit an iconic model for the mid-range. I can see this one being a big hit this year, especially with all the new Tyranid models to expand this with. Last of all, we have a World Eaters army box, and yes, you heard that right. This is a pretty damn exciting box called Exalted of the Red Angel. Needless to say, the amazing model that is Angron is inside this box, alongside 10 Berserkers and 6 8-bound, which you can build as either the standard variant or Exalted 8-bound. In terms of value, it sits 3rd at an RRP of £215 or $355, with Angron making up a good majority of that. Moving on to the points, depending on the 8-bound you end up building, it comes to a whopping 885 to 915 points, which needless to say is the most of any of these boxes. Granted, Angron does make up 415 of them. Seeing 8-bound in a value box is great to see. Having been pretty much impossible to get hold of them for the vast majority of the time they've been released, it's nice to see them in here. Plus, having a showpiece model in Angron is fantastic for someone wanting to get into the army. This really is a perfect starting box to be combined with the Combat Patrol as well. That being said, having Angron in the box does make this a little harder of a sell for existing World Eaters players that were hoping to expand their forces. If you wanted to try and sell him off afterwards to recoup some of the money and still have value from the 8-bound and Berserkers, then certainly go for it, but the Red Angel may well put off existing players from picking up this amazing box. Overall, I think this is a pretty exciting set of boxes on the most part. While the Marine box is a little disappointing, the Votann, Orcs, World Eaters and Tyranids more than make up for this. The Guard box is pretty cool if you wanted more tanks, but I'm sure there are going to be some very empty wallets come Christmas time. Let me know in the comment section below what you've made of these boxes. Any of these that stand out to you that you can't resist? If you enjoyed the video and want to see more, please hit that like and subscribe button, as it makes a big difference. Thank you so much for watching the command phase, and I'll see you in the next video.